All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the LFC Transfer Room. It is myself, Jack, Kris, Charlie, and Matty for the start of what could be a bit of a series going forward, the debate room. We've swapped transfer room with the debate room. We're going to have a bit of a discussion on one of the more interesting topics in the Liverpool space at the moment. That is the future of Sadio Mane. So, Kris, I'll go to you first. Just how are you doing on this Thursday evening?
I'm good. I'm doing good, mate. I'm in a different location at my girlfriend's house in Bristol, so I'm chilling there. And I tell you what, it's good vibes. Even though we lost on the Tuesday, was it? Every day is getting mixed up nowadays. Um, it's good vibes only from Stonage, and that's what you come to expect.
There was a cheeky mention of the girlfriend. Well, Matty, how are you? How are you doing today?
Just about got over that Leicester defeat, to be honest with you, Jack. I was fuming after that game. I didn't even know it was Thursday. This period between Christmas and New Year is just one big blur, to be honest.
Me and you both were winding. I think winding Kris up in the WhatsApp by having very reactionary takes towards Liverpool. But that's what it's all about. And Charlie, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good man. Just chilling. Another day for me.
Well, we're discussing Sadio Mane today, and kind of his long-term future, where it kind of lies. We got the AFCON obviously coming up with Senegal, so he's got a January that will likely be filled much with international duty. But Kris, kind of open up the debate proceedings. Kind of establish your position on how you feel about Sadio Mane heading forward.
Let me establish beforehand that 13 and a half hours without scoring a goal for Liverpool Football Club is not good enough. But that's because we've come to expect so much more from Sadio Mane. He was the beginner of the Jurgen Klopp era. He was the one who, started it all off, in my opinion, in terms of top level signings and becoming this world class outfit we're used to. And I think he deserves a little bit more respect than he's getting, to be honest. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon saying he's not good enough anymore, but he's actually got 7 Premier League goals this season, which is more than the vast majority, more than Ronaldo, by the way. He is he's an absolute legend of this football club. He scored in a Champions League final. He is still, got it. Even in a bad season last season, he scored double figures, which I think he's outstanding. And even though he hasn't had the goal contributions that we would have thought off the ball and influencing games, he's still doing that. So when he doesn't do that, that's when I'd be a little bit more worried. But he's not contributing in front of goal, which is a little bit frustrating. But I think he will come back to form.
Matty, I'll go to you now. Where do you stand on the Sadio Mane spectrum?
I keep him all day. I really will keep him all day. If everything what Kris said, Sadio Mane for me is criminally underrated. He always has been in his Liverpool career. And when you look at some of the goal scorers, he's level on goals with Bernardo Silva, who's having apparently the season of his life. Mikel Antonio, everyone's saying he's being unbelievable. He's level on goals with him. Everyone talks about Mason Mount, level on goals with him. He's if he scores one more goal, he's the one of the fourth highest goal scorers in the league this year, and everyone's panicking. Like, yeah, he's a bit out of form, but he's miles better than what he was last year.
And Charlie, we have 2 people that are big advocates for Sadio Mane. I hear that you may not be Sadio Mane's biggest advocate.
Look, I agree with everything that Kris and Matty have said in the terms that he's a Liverpool legend. He will go down as a legend, rightfully so. As Kris said, he started the Klopp era. He was the first man who really took on Jurgen Klopp's idea of the pressing. He was the foundation of everything. But everything has to come to an end, and unfortunately, I think Mane's time is coming to an end. It was discussed that it was a bit of a bad run of form last season. I think everyone sort of given the benefit of the doubt, like, yeah, okay, you've been amazing for us for 3-4 years, but now it's starting not to look like a bad run of form, and it's starting to look like he's actually declining. He doesn't have that, he doesn't create that space like he used to. He doesn't take on players. He's not as fearless as he was. And, the goals are starting to show for that. Obviously, as Kris said, he has scored 7 goals this season. I agree. Yeah, he's not as bad as last season, but these 9-10 games he's looked absolutely atrocious. He just doesn't offer anything up front anymore. I think what was it? I can't remember what game it was. There was one game I was like quite impressed with him, but then the next game he just goes back to his old tricks. He's not offering anything on the wings. He's not making them runs like Salah and Jota do. He's not offering himself up. He's missing absolute sitters. There's nobody here who tells me no professional football player in the world should miss his chance against Leicester. None.
Or at least not, challenge Schmeichel. I disagree with the fact that you say he's not making runs. I think he's absolutely doing that. He's contributing here, there, and everywhere, I think, in the build-up of play. And yes, sometimes he's frustrating. He gives the ball away. Matty mentioned his passing stats are pretty atrocious, but that's what the sort of player Sadio Mane is. It's the sort of player that Liverpool bought, and it's the sort of player that Liverpool have. It's maybe because we're used to him being this goal-scoring machine that he has become behind Mohamed Salah, but we can't expect for him to be this guy that he was 3 or 4 years ago, and he's still contributing.
What is he contributing though? He's got 1 assist this season. He's got 7 goals, yes, but a day.
His work rate, mate. His work rate is incredible.
Is it though? Like
he's in the 97th percentile against other players in his position for pressures.
Yeah, but is that not Liverpool's system? Would you, if you put another left winger in there, that's the minimum Klopp that's the minimum Klopp wants from his wingers. That's the minimum that you have to give in this Liverpool team. You have to press off the ball. Yes, he might be doing that, but is he doing that so effective that it's giving us goals? Like, he's got 1 assist. Salah has got 9 assists. I know Salah's different. Salah's a different monster. But Diogo Jota, for instance, look, he come in. He was probably challenging Mane, but he's now overtook Firmino by the looks of it. I just don't see. We could bring somebody in. I'm sure we'll get onto it. But there's a better player. He's 29. He's, I think he's declining. I think he may have hit his peak. Some players do hit the peak earlier, whereas Salah looks like he's just getting into his peak now. I think that 2019-20 season where he was unbelievable, I think that in the year before is the best we're going to get out of him. And again, I love him as a legend, but I don't think players should be immune to criticism because they are a legend.
He is in the 80th percentile for goals as well.
I want to rope in some comments from someone else, some people watching. Make sure you get your comments in on your take. James saying, keep him, don't sell. He will come back to form, just need some time on the bench. Kiefer kind of has a similar mentality, happy to sit on the bench, but they need an upgrade. Tara wants a Dembele and Mane swap deal. That's a different discussion entirely. Matty seems incredibly enthused about that. I think it's almost natural to expect after this, all this discussion, his long-term future, he'll come back with a banger. Dave's also saying something similar. And then Haaland is another one that also floated at times. That's obviously a dream. So I think I kind of want to push the discussion into, I think Charlie made an interesting point that he has 9.5 expected goals this season in the Prem, has 7 goals from that. So he's gotten the looks, hasn't converted them. He presses very well, like Matty mentioned, but would anyone in Klopp's system do that? So in that left wing spot, Kris, you say Mane is good for right now, but could almost anybody be plugged in there? Not anybody. Could many players be plugged in Klopp's system and succeed?
You see how long it takes players to get used to Klopp's system. That point is completely disproven. It is a skill, it is a talent to be able to press and to press cleverly. Mane does that. You see the amount of times that when a team is passing out from the back, that one of Mane, Firmino, Salah, or Jota wins that ball and presses on the opposition goal. We saw it about 3 or 4 times against Leicester, and that's why it's frustrating that we did win that game. I do think that you put other players in Mane's goal scoring situations this season, they might score more. But that's a completely different argument. He's getting these chances. When a player is not getting the chances, that's when you need to be worrying. And I don't think Mane is in that situation yet. I think someone brought up potentially benching him, and I would be more keen for that. But then it's what option do we have? And that's another question.
I just want to say, is it disproven though? We've since really Salah and Mane have came in. At the time they were 30 million. At that time it was an expensive deal. You're probably looking now with inflation, them players, let's say a Bowen for an example, he probably cost you 50, 60 million. Like I'd say that's with inflation, that's what probably Salah and Mane cost. We brought in Diogo Jota, and he has proven that he can fill the boots of Mane, of Firmino. When is somebody, Takumi Minamino is not even comparable to Salah or Mane when he came in. Jota is, so has it been disproven? Because, it takes a while for certain players to get into the system. We've seen it with Robertson, we've seen it with Simicast as well. But in the forward line, have we really bought that many players to come in and, challenge the likes of the front three? Because when we have, the only real person who's come in, who we've expected to come in and displace one of the front three, has come in and displaced one of the front three.
I suppose it's a valid point. I mean, you can only look because we haven't really bought many forward players since Jurgen arrived, apart from those two, Mane, Salah, and Minamino and Jota. I mean, you can have a look at the likes of Daniel Sturridge, who fell to the wayside. Yes, he was past his peak. But yeah, I sort of agree. I see where you're coming from there, Charlie. But I'm just basing it on more of the whole system rather than just the forward line. Fabinho is another one that took 6 to 7 months to settle. There's plenty of other options as well. But yeah, I sort of see where you're coming from.
I think with Mane, though, I do think we need to bring somebody in as the successor to Mane. And then if he dislodges him, so be it. Do you know what I mean? He's 29, 30 in April next year. So he probably is at that age now where he is going to start declining. But then I don't think we should sell him. I think we should keep him there and other players learn from him. Like with Jota, I think Jurgen Klopp, if we start the Champions League final tomorrow, I think he'd start Mane, Salah, and Firmino.
Matty, so you say have someone to be the successor. Can Liverpool afford to have Mane at the present moment, though, at the standard he's playing? Because we say a lot of the comments drop him to the bench. A successor, at least in my interpretation of a successor, he isn't replacing Mane in the starting 11 today. That'd be like a Jeremy Doku, who would be a very long-term project as that guy. He's not starting over Mane if we signed him in January. So what's the short-term plan for Mane if you're making a buyout for the forward line?
Well, according to Forbes, FSG are worth 3.6 billion, so we can definitely afford to go and get a replacement. Whether John Henry gets the checkbook out and goes and buys someone's a different story. But who would buy Mane? Who would go and spend, like Sadio Mane, you're not selling him for less than, in my opinion, 40, 50 million. But who's going to pay that for a soon-to-be 30-year-old attacker? Maybe PSG. But then, even then, they don't need him. So there's maybe Barca, it seems like they got a bit of money for him, 60 million at fair. And so if someone like that, if someone come in and offered 40, 50 million for Mane, then I maybe would say maybe, but I just couldn't sell him. And no one could afford him. Who could afford Mane now would pay 40, 50 million on a
exactly. And does Sadio Mane not strike you as the man that if he got benched, he'd have a little bit of a strop? Because he does a little bit to me. He wants to be the main man, and that's fair enough. They're football players; they want to go and do that. And it's just whether it would damage him psychologically to put him and to drop him. And I agree with Matty. Like, who is going to pay that money, and who is going to make him the main man? PSG are not going to do that. He doesn't fit Barcelona's style of play under Xavi whatsoever. He wants technical players. Sadio Mane has improved his technical qualities, but he is not a technical player. I just don't see anywhere that he really fits whatsoever. Maybe another Premier League club would be interested. Maybe Newcastle or something like that. But yeah, it's such a weird one to decipher where Mane would go if Liverpool decided to sell him and how much money we would get.
Hear me out on this amazing plan that I've got. We've discussed it. We've discussed it previously. I'm in a running for Michael Edwards' jobs. It's me just being an absolute genius. You know, Dortmund have got a bit of an issue when Haaland leaves, don't they? Well, you know, instead of that 68 million, that's, you know, I'd say is a bit low for someone of Haaland's quality. To give them Sadio Mane and 30-40 million, I think gets a little bit. It's good for us. We get Haaland, stick Jota on the left. Good for Dortmund. You get Sadio Mane. No, it's a win-win for everybody, and if it happens in January, even better too. That's if I was Michael Edwards, that's what I'd be doing right now.
Yeah, and Charlie, I'd just say to put the controller down, fella.
That's not a controller. FIFA won't let me do that.
Where does Joe Bellingham play?
Joe Bellingham, I think he's a midfielder.
Yeah, sure.
He's also 16 years old, Matty.
I just mean because they're looking at bringing him into Dortmund. So Dortmund aren't a type of team who are going by a first or even want a 30-year-old player. They want someone who they can bring in for next to nothing and make sure.
Marco Reus is still their main man. He's still there.
He's Haaland. Not. I mean, Erling Haaland is.
Okay, yeah, obviously, disregard Haaland, but apart from him, he's their main man. Nah, Reus starts over him more.
Look, I think Dortmund, they would not take Mane, at least in my estimation, because they could go buy Haaland or Karim Adeyemi and do exactly what they did with Haaland. Give him a release clause in a year and a half and just double the money. It's better than stocks. In 12 months, they'll make like 20-30 million euros.
Yeah, but they could have. I know we're sort of getting off topic a bit, but with Dortmund, like if they just give him more money instead of putting a release clause on there, they could have just been like, they could be getting 150 million now. So it's a massive L from them. So yes, they get good talent, but their business model maybe isn't the best.
I want to bring this up because the contract situation is one. Mane, Firmino, and Salah out of contract in 18 months. If he's only got 12 months left on his contract, I think that devalues him even further. I mean, who's going to pay 40 million for a 12-month left on contract, Sadio Mane? And, that's the predicament Liverpool are in. Do they give him a new deal to protect his value?
That is a great point.
Well, that's what we seem to have done with Nat Phillips.
Nat Phillips is different. Nat Phillips is 24 and has proven that he's a Premier League player. Yes, Sadio Mane is unbelievable at points, but he's aging. He's on a very bad run of form. And as Kris has said, who's going to buy him, even with a 6-year contract or a 4-year contract? Like, who is going to maybe Newcastle, as Carter said there, but that's a short-term replacement for Newcastle. Yes, I think the fans would be happy with it, but you're relying on one or two clubs with unlimited money to maybe put like 60, 70 million, because his value has gone down from what it was like 2-3 years ago. No one's going to put that much money in for him. So and the thing is, he's wanting Mo Salah money. Like, how are you wanting Mo Salah money when you're giving us, not even Jarrod Bowen performances? It's
Don't use Jarrod Bowen like that. Don't that my boy.
So you're saying Jarrod Bowen's better than Mane, or
on current form? Yes,
exactly.
No.
Oh, come on, Jack. On current form, last season, Jarrod Bowen, 18 goals and assists. Sadio Mane, I think it was 14. This season, Jarrod Bowen is already on 12 goals and assists.
He got 18 as well. He got 7 assists and 11 goals.
Did he? Well, there you go. See, Jarrod Bowen is better than Mane. Just, you can't handle it, boys. You can't handle the fact that Jarrod Bowen, the lad from Hereford, is better than Sadio.
I'm just trying to get over our good man José.
I do want to keep him still, by the way.
Our good man Chedu, with his takes in the comments. They are very interesting. So the contract, I think, was a great point that Programmer made a bit earlier about the contract situation, because,
I think it says pro gamer, not programmer.
Pro gamer is what I said. You misheard me, Kris. You misheard me. Look, it was an R away from being programmer, right? Or am I just... All right, I'm going to stop talking before I embarrass myself further. So the contract situation, I think, Charlie, it was a bit of FIFA talk with the 30 million plus Mane for Haaland. But at what point does... because at 18 months, contract isn't really entirely impacting his value. 12 months, that's just one season that you're waiting if you want to get him on a free. So I think is a January move, replace just full on sale of Mane. Is that possible in anybody's eyes?
No, it's not possible at all.
Well, he can't fly out of AFCON to then go and do a medical and stuff and move clubs. But it's very, very worrying that our front three is all on 18-month deals. But I do think the Salah deal is going to be announced on January 31st as our January signing.
And you know what? Would you be mad at that, Matty? Because I don't think I would be.
No, I wouldn't be. If we need to secure Mohamed Salah on a 5-year deal like that. It's not even that I think fans want it. We need to. If Liverpool want to continue to compete at the top level, Mohamed Salah is key to that. He's the best player in world football, and we're arsing around over a new deal. Like, I think when I looked at it, I think Salah was after I think it worked out at 60 million more than what he's on now over 5 years. You go and find me a player better than Mohamed Salah who's for 60 million and his wages as well included. So it's ridiculous.
So we've seen Liverpool already this past summer. They let Jorginho Wijnaldum walk on a free. They didn't like his contract demands. They said, you can contribute to us, but then you'll walk. Could Sadio Mane be in a spot where he won't be sold? We'll keep him till 2023, but we also won't re-up him.
Do you know what? I can see that happening. I genuinely can see that happening.
32 then wouldn't he? So
I think he'd
be 31.
31.
Yeah. I think he's the most likely to do it as well. We've seen when he's been subbed off, he's, at Burnley was a massive one where he threw that massive tantrum. He's done it before. He's someone who wants to get his way, I think. Out of the whole front three, he's going to be the one who won't settle on his demands. I think Roberto Firmino would be absolutely buzzing to sit on the bench for Liverpool for the rest of his career and get 150 grand a week. And I think no matter what Salah offers, unless it's something ridiculous, they'll lose the fans if they don't sign him up to a new contract. Whereas Mane, I think he's dispensable. I think we can go out and get a good replacement for him next summer or the summer after, and it not be that detrimental of a price.
I think it sort of makes. I mean, unless we can get 40 to 50 million, it makes more financial sense because. I mean, if you look at it, if he goes into the last season of his deal and has scored 15 goals before January or whatever, you're like, right, we'll give you a new deal, performance based. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if we give him a 5-year deal now, it's a little bit presumptuous saying that he's going to maintain his form. I genuinely think, as Charlie said, he's dispensable. But I also think you won't get much better for the money that you will get for him. So it's in a financial world, I don't think it makes sense to sell him until, or it makes sense to sell him unless you let him walk.
So I want to raise, I think really the debate on if he's replaced, if he's sold, depends on who comes in instead. Say Mbappe is signed on a free, then you can almost loosen up how your demands for Mane because you Mbappe replacing it, but again, that's a very tough thing to get. Carter says a swap for Mane and Dembele. Dembele has 6 months left on his contract. He has high wage demands, and he's very injury prone.
That's a over exaggeration. That's an under exaggeration. That guy is literally made out of breadsticks.
He is worse than Naby Keita.
Yeah.
I've just had a look. He's missed 20 games this season. He's only been about 25 games.
He's missed 100 games in his Barcelona career. Which is that is inexcusable levels when you're on over £250,000 a week.
Yeah, and they've got arguably one of the best medical departments in world football, and they can't even fix them. Pep Guardiola still goes back there to get his players fixed, and these can't fix them. Unfortunately, I know Klopp loves him. Like he said in past interviews that he'd love to sign Dembele and that he wish he would have worked with him when he was at Dortmund, but there's not a chance Liverpool sign him.
Not a chance. I think that is I was to rate the odds of moves, it makes sense. Let me make the argument for Dembele.
Oh, Jack.
Let me make the argument.
I'll let you speak, but no.
The upfront cost will be tiny because there's 6 months left on the deal. Sign him in January. You bring him in. Say he's just fit for the AFCON games. and we're able to just stick him up front for those.
That's a big ask. That is a massive ask for Dembele.
Yes. But what Dembele would provide is that Mane, it's not the kind of finances that forces Mane to leave to bring him in. So even if he's injury prone beyond all belief, it's still what's the negative if he doesn't work out? You're paying a little bit of money.
A little bit.
Everything.
He's gonna want like at least 150 grand a week, and you're gonna be paying him that to get the medical team to try and fix him when we can't fix Naby Keita.
Jack,
Think about how
he's had 6 hamstring injuries since 2018. 6.
It's think about what you could get though.
Yeah,
yeah. I could have a 12-inch penis. Doesn't mean I'm going to have it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
$100 million man. That's the kind of talent he has. If you can tap in.
He doesn't though. He doesn't. Barcelona grossly overpaid.
I would
overpay for a £60 million player.
I would 100. You wouldn't even have to give me any, and you wouldn't even have to convince me. I'd snap your arm off if it was a deal between Coutinho or Dembele. I'd take Coutinho back in an absolute heartbeat, because even though Dembele has potential and he's younger, you know, he's getting injured in La Liga, one of the softest leagues in the top 5, probably the softest league with the French league maybe, but
Charlie's having proper Brexit right now.
He's getting injured.
Not like bloody England, mate.
No, I promise you, he'd get tackled by James Tarkowski. He'd literally go flying into a tackle and he'd be out for the rest of the year. It's not even a decision that the club would make, especially with Naby Keita taking up the injury room half the time.
26 minutes into this stream, when Dembele is announced on January 7th, I will bring this back and I will say, Charlie, revoke your criticism.
I honestly, like, if you got the Borussia Dortmund Dembele, then that's a different kettle of fish. He weren't injured. He was phenomenal. But since he's been at Barcelona, he has literally just racked up injury after injury, and they're not short injuries either. His shortest one was muscular problems, but they're all like, there's like 134 days, 191 days, 106 days, 36 days. That's like month-long injuries. Liverpool, right, for the past 2 seasons, have been riddled with injuries. It was the defense last year, the midfield this year. We don't want to be going into next season having problems with the attack.
Could you imagine Ousmane Dembele in a pressing system in 2022? No. He would finish. He'd be finished, lad. I'm sorry. There is not a way. I mean, shout out to Ben, his favourite player, Domenico Berardi. You know, maybe. What we saying, Matty?
Let's circle it back. That's a lovely inside joke. Let's circle it back to Mane related. Let's establish what we would do. So here, I've already given what I would do. I would sign Ousmane Dembele as competition for that left wing spot. Doesn't matter if he doesn't show up for the rest of the season. It would be competition. And then you assess contract situation in the summer if you re-up him. And if you don't re-up him, then I think you let him walk. I don't think you sell him. I think you get 1 year of him, and then you let him walk for free. That's what I would do. Bring in Dembele as competition. Kris, you are Michael Edwards advising Jurgen Klopp. What are you deciding to do with Sadio Mane in terms of his game time and in terms of transfer moves around him?
I think you look at the statistics as Michael Edwards, John Henry, and Julian Ward in the future will do. And you think, who out there could I get better than Sadio Mane right now for the price that we could get Sadio Mane for? And
Kris, I will also toss this, not sorry to interrupt. Doesn't have to be better right now. Also could be an investment.
Right now or in the future. Yeah, and I think you don't get that. I think you either cash in the summer for whatever you get, or you give him a contract extension to either protect his value or let him run down his contract. Because there's so many ifs and buts with this, and it all depends on if he bounces back from this run of form. And being brutally honest, I think he will. He will never be the Mane of 2018 to 19, but he will be, you know, a very valuable asset. I mean, he already has been this year. So, yeah, I think it has to be keep and hope that he returns to his former self.
Matty, transfer moves, game time, through AFCON and afterwards. What do you see the future for Mane if you are, again, the advisor for Liverpool?
I honestly believe Diogo Jota is Sadio Mane's long-term replacement because he is naturally a left winger. We've played him through the middle this year because we just can't take him off the team, and he is better than Bobby at the minute. But I do naturally believe that Liverpool, if they're going in the market, are probably looking more as a false nine attacker and maybe a right winger as cover for Salah. I would 100% keep Sadio Mane. There's loads of comments here about Ivan Toney. That's someone who I would bring in. Like tomorrow, I think he's phenomenal. But I don't think we will bring in a left winger. I honestly believe Diogo Jota is the natural long-term replacement for Sadio Mane. But it's that predicament now of can you take Mane out and start Jota, Salah, and Bobby? Probably not, because it's a lot more effective to have Mane, Jota, and Salah. But I do think in 2-3 seasons you'll probably see Jota on the left a hell of a lot more, and Salah. I mean, Mane, I do think will probably run his contract down at Liverpool and leave for free, purely because nobody is going to pay the money Liverpool wants for a 30-year-old, soon to be 30-year-old attacker.
I want to run through some of the comments in a moment, but Charlie, I'll let you give your advisor take on what you decide to do as Chris's webcam decides to go off.
Okay, so what I do, I still believe the long-term replacement for Mane will be Jeremy Doku. I don't know why I think the club have had this set since he joined that Jeremy Doku will play for Liverpool one day. If we're talking about January, I think we're gonna end up going with what we've got, which is unfortunate. I can't see us signing anyone in January, but not long term, but near term, I think we go and sign Rafinha if Leeds get relegated or not. I think we go out, we get Rafinha in the summer, and Mane runs his contract down as a second choice, forward player. Which is he going to like? No, but he's going to have to deal with it, isn't he? Same with Bobby. So it's that's I think what I would do if I was Michael Edwards or Julian Ward, whoever's in charge of it by then. I think that's a logical, rational decision that could be achievable if Liverpool decide to spend a bit of money for once.
I can only see us spend the money this January because it's Mickey Edwards' last window. He's surely got to go out with a bang.
Who though?
How much on those who's?
Yeah, who I'd like to see is Rafinha. That's one player who I would absolutely adore.
Not a chance Leeds let him go in January. Not a chance.
I don't think it'll happen. Ideally, I'd like someone like Bellingham, but all these players are people you're probably only going to maybe get in the summer. So I am honestly staying with my guns, though. I don't think we'll buy anyone in January, and we'll announce a Mo Salah contract on the 31st, a minute before 11.
If any of you guys know an update on this, because I know there was Rafinha to Bayern, heavy rumors.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, that seems unbelievable for the price points, for the time, for everything involved. We'll have a video from Matty on the channel very, very soon, so make sure you subscribe and turn on tweet notifications for an update on Rafinha. That will be very, very soon. I want to. So Ivan Toney's guys, as I mentioned, and Carter. I think if I'm not mistaken, you're the Ruben Loftus-Cheek is better than Jordan Henderson guy.
Okay, you can disregard his opinion right now. Then
I have taken great exception to some of your takes. Ivan Toney better than Firmino, maybe in 2021, bordering on 22.
I love the fact Americans get an E from an I. Ivan Toney.
Ivan.
What is it?
Ivan.
Ivan.
Yeah,
Ivan.
Tony, but he hasn't impressed as much as I think he would have in the Premier League this season.
Do you not think? I think he's been excellent in terms of not in terms of his output, but his all-round play is exceptional.
His expected
Roberto Firmino is an absolute insult.
Look, his all-round play.
Firmino is mustard. He is absolutely mustard. And to be honest with you, the past few games Firmino's played, he looks sharp. He looks really sharp. But
yeah,
Firmino with fans is different. He's just different. When there's fans in the stadium, Roberto Firmino was a different player.
Speaking of Carter, though,
I'm not actually looking at myself. I'm trying to sort out like a substitute light for my fingers. My camera died.
No, he's got this selfie. He's got his phone. He's taking pictures of himself off to the side. That's what he's doing.
I know I'm a sexy bastard, but come on, lad.
I do think what Carter said there. I think Adama Traore would be a great a great buy. I think Wolves are up for selling him. You know, does he have the end product? Absolutely not. But you know, we've seen it with the likes of Salah and with Mane. You know, you might not have it at another club, but he's got all the skills and all the necessary things there. I think you can get him from Wolves for about 30 million. You know, I think they'd sell him for that, and I think they'd sell him in January. I do think if we sign one player, I think in January it might be him. I'm giving that like as a 1% chance of happening, but I think if we do sign anyone, it could be him just because his situation at Wolves. He's not going to AFCON because he's not African.
Well, look at it.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I know.
You are probably all going to say no to this, but I think if we have to take someone from the Prem who in that position, I'd rather St. Maximin over Adama Traore.
Not a chance.
Because Newcastle will build their entire dynasty over him.
Yeah, I don't think they would sell him, but I would take him over Adama because his footwork.
It is. So Anthony, I want to address this. Liverpool didn't have a center back for like the rest of the season last year, and they signed Kabak and Davies. So why would they sign for just a month period, sign one player or buy somebody?
Or we'll just buy someone from the Championship. You know, Ben Burton Diaz.
Lord Divock is going to be sound for a month. It's all okay.
I think bring back Solanke.
To be fair, for the next month, I do think we'll probably see Elliot mid-January, maybe.
Nah.
I don't know. I've seen rumours mid-Jan. But then Minamino's looked sharp when he's been playing. I think he deserves a run of games. Not saying he's going to win many games in January, but Minamino isn't terrible. Divock this season, when he has been called upon, I'll face anyone on this, he has been good. When he has been called upon this season, Divock Origi has performed. So I'm not that as worried, and I do think we might play a slightly different system over the next month, maybe a 4-1-2-1-2 or something like that.
This Den Babies guy seems like a real gun.
Hey, we do have a buyback clause on Ryan Brewster, so you know.
Gerrard helping Liverpool with the net spend, buying.
If we sell Origi in January, it's criminal, just because we've got nobody else.
Yeah, it would be brutal. The thought sometimes crosses my mind. What if Jurgen Klopp had City-like money with the recruitment that they do? So the players like Adama Traore, Ivan Toney, I hope that's pronounced correctly for you guys. Just guys like that for the bench. Ivan. You know, now that I say it, it does sound kind of dumb, doesn't it? But imagine those kind of signings very frequently across the lineup.
Yeah, but then what you would see is a lesser success rate of signings, because what this system and what the stingy owners, shall we say, have put Michael Edwards and Jurgen Klopp, have put him in a position where every signing matters. Everything matters. You have to go into so much depth and detail about it. And we could have ended up signing Nabil Fekir, even though we had a leg issue. We could have ended up signing players who aren't specifically the right fit just because we can. That's what Man City do, because they can, you know, and that you would see a lesser success rate. Not saying that it would be a bad thing, but yeah, it's a strange predicament, that one.
I've seen the reactions around Jack Grealish. They signed him for £100 million, most expensive player in the history of the league, and they're fine with him just kind of, you know, not really creating too many goals.
Jack
even though he's
Grealish is having a Jack Grealish season. How he's performing at City is exactly how he performed at Villa. The difference is he was a big fish in a small pond. It's so great. Like when he came to us, he was phenomenal at Villa. He performed like he did at Villa with us, but he wasn't the big fish anymore.
And you know what, Matty?
Jack Grealish is a creative footballer. At Man City, he has got no focal point to create for.
Yeah, he's very much a left winger in City's system, where at Villa, he was very much like Coutinho, where he could sort of just go where he wanted to and players would fill that gap in. Pep would never, he just doesn't allow that from his players. So
they could afford for Jack Grealish to kind of be less Jack Grealish and just be a cog in this wheel, a £100 million just average cog in the Man City wheel. They can afford that. And
would you rather go and have all this money and have a situation like Chelsea have got now, where they're £100 million strikers saying he wants to go back to Inter and he's not happy with the new system? Liverpool gets slated for being stingy, but one thing we've got is a fantastic team who will do anything for each other. Lukaku's moaning because Tuchel's playing a different system, and he's probably going to get dropped against us and go in the summer because he's not getting his own way. It's like a catch-22. I'd love Liverpool to be able to go and buy whoever he wants it, but then you've just got a team full of egos who think they're better than everyone.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting point. I'm not going to outright dismiss it. I think yes man has different connotations. Do we actually think Klopp hates the signings and hates the squad? I think Klopp genuinely likes his squad. And I think that he just has a different conception of team football than we do.
How do you know that Klopp isn't loving the fact that he has to work on a small budget? You don't know that. You don't know the intricacies of Liverpool Football Club at the end of the day. Neither do we. So we can't say that he's a yes man or a no man or whatever or a maybe man. We don't know. I don't understand.
With Klopp as well, though, I think if he wants a player, he gets a player. It's been proven with Van Dijk, been proven with Alisson, been proven several times. I think if he went to FSG and said in January, I want this player, I think FSG will probably go and buy it.
You know the counter argument.
Yes.
The counter argument to that, real quick, I wanted to hit on that as well, Matty, is you say Van Dijk and Alisson are two great examples, but they also had 150 million pounds in the bank because of Coutinho. We haven't seen outside of the Coutinho money a willingness to spring those kind of deals.
But we have 16, 17. We spent a lot of money.
Fabinho was 40, 50 million. Joss has been 45 million. Salah's 35 million. Mane was 30 million. FSG have spent. When you look before FSG came into now, they've spent a hell of a lot of money.
But what have they spent in the last?
I do think I strongly believe we need new owners. But FSG, when they have wanted to spend money on the right player, we have spent that money.
You look at the Jota signing, though, it was Keanu Hoover and 4 years of 8 million. Andy
that's how every transfer works, though.
Yeah, and I understand that, and that's Michael Edwards, and that's probably how he has to do it because FSG aren't giving him the right money to get players. He's having to say I'll give you 50p every day. He's working miracles. Is Julian Ward going to be able to do that? Who knows? Hopefully, if he's not, then it's going to be bad news because we. Apart from Jota, Thiago, 20 million. I don't think that's that expensive. I think most owners in the Prem would be able to get that money for Thiago, one of the best midfielders in the world. I'm not FSG or FSG in or FSG out, but they need we when we won the Champions League, they messed up massively because every single player in the world would have come to this Liverpool side. And we signed absolutely nobody. We signed
Harvey Elliott. We signed Harvey Elliott.
Harvey Elliott would have joined Liverpool if we were in League Two. He bleeds Liverpool. It doesn't matter.
Don't forget the Ginger Maldini, Sepp van den Berg.
Yeah, exactly. But that I think this is where the whole injury crisis of last season and the midfield crisis of this season is all stemming from the fact that Liverpool, when we were at the top of the world, we were the best team in the world. FSG didn't go, all right, look, I don't do this, but here's 150 million. Go and sign 3 or 4 players that will stay in this team for the next 6-7 years. And somebody like Roman Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour would have done it. Yes, they've got unlimited money, but I think any good owner who can see that we're on the top of the world would have given money to Liverpool in that position to improve the squad and build on what they were building.
I look back on that summer and I agree. I think I would have
look at it and we won the league.
We do win the league.
And take away Adrian, we go to the Champions League quarter-final, in my opinion.
What Charlie's saying is right. When Liverpool you should always strengthen from a position of power.
100% agree with that. 100% agree, but I don't think that season's the one. I think it's the one after.
Kris, I think what we did is we broke our own protocol when we did that. We should have done what Charlie said and not sign players because I don't think very many players in world football break into that side in 1920. But you sign them as backups at age 21, 22, 23, 24, Kostas Tsimikas didn't play at all last season. Now he's he basically had a year loan in training with Liverpool.
In COVID, an injury.
Especially.
One thing about FSG is what people need to realise is they literally saved Liverpool Football Club, and one thing they have done very, very well is make the club sustainable again. Like Liverpool Football Club, no matter what owners come in after FSG, this club's sustainable. The ground is going to be 60,000 plus in a year or so. We've got the state-of-the-art training facilities. We have been dragged back up into the modern day, and I'm not FSG in or FSG out. I'm like Charlie, but I think FSG get a lot of hate when they have done a lot of good for the club. I mean, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying, "Yeah, well, training grounds can't win your leagues and stuff," but it can. Do you know what I mean? Like it
Where
can.
do you think academies come from? Why do you think?
Look at the academy before Trent. The last decent player to come out of the academy was Gerrard and Carragher, and now in recent years we've had loads
Don't
of
disrespect Jay Spearing like that.
But look how much talent's coming out of the academy. And would I prefer Liverpool to bring players out of the academy who are going to be world class than go and spend £60 million on a player? Yeah, every day I'd rather a scout to do it. I would.
And I think this kind of loops back a bit into Mane, at least in my opinions of him. And I think that the big thing with Mane is that we've run him into the ground over the last several years. He's had to play every match that he could. He's had to perform at a very high level. And I know people will say, woe is me, you're a professional footballer. But it's hard to do this, as proven by the fact that how few people can do it at a high level. If we had brought in, I don't know, an Ismail Assar, I don't know if that was the right time frame after 18-19. But you bring in someone young to just back up Mane and just the occasional match. Didn't have to be everyone. We would not be looking at a Mane who was as worn out as he is now because he still has a player in him.
Yeah, the thing is as well, look, he was willing to join, so we just didn't want to give them the extra 5-10 million that they wanted. He was happy to come in and sit as a backup. Like, yes, we got Jota, thankfully, but I still think Saw would be a decent signing now. You know, would Watford really turn down 40-50 million? Probably not. And he's going to come in and he's going to challenge the front three, and he'll happily sit on the bench and come on every game. Like it's backups that we need, and I'm hoping that Mane proves like it is a really bad run of form. I want him to succeed, but I do think it's coming to the end of his time. You know, to finish up on it. I hope that he goes. I hope that he does go to AFCON, bag a few goals for Senegal. I think he's the captain now, isn't he?
Is it not Koulibaly?
I think he got voted captain. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard that he's got voted captain. You know, Senegal, one of the best teams in Africa at the moment, probably favourites to get to the final at least. So it's, you know, maybe he can get a bit of a different environment. He can go to the AFCON, he can bag a few goals, hopefully win the tournament, and come back a new player, come back like enlightened. You know, he's got his whole country behind him. He's just won the biggest trophy for his country, barring the World Cup, obviously. But and you know, he looks like a different player, but that's hopeful. You know, I know that Salah's going to come back no matter what happens for AFCON, and he's still going to be the best player in the world. But it is what it is, isn't it? It's all hope at this point with Mane, in my opinion.
You make a good point there, Charlie. I think that almost changed. My stance on Dembele being the signing, it was very weak. You know, it wasn't just like I'm steadfast on it. But I think that I think you do give him to the summer. I think I would love to see someone give him some time off for the rest of the season if needed to rotate and compete with him. But maybe he does come back. And maybe he does come back a different player. And maybe that's the last chance for him to kind of prove himself as that guy at left wing, the number 10 for Liverpool. So it's very interesting. We've said what we want to happen. We've kind of alluded to it. What do we expect to happen? I mean, I think we don't expect anything in January, do we, in terms of signings?
I don't, anyway.
I don't know, because we didn't expect anything when Virgil van Dijk going out. So I'd never say never. But I think if we haven't signed anyone by, say, like the 10th of January, something like that, I don't think we will. If we're going to sign someone, it'll be early days to help with the AFCON. But I don't think we'll sign anyone. And do you know what? It's not that I'm not happy with the current squad either. I strongly believe that this current squad can go and win us the Champions League again. I really do.
I am of the opinion that Carabao Cup, Champions League, if that's and top four. If that's the season, I'm over the moon.
Top four is already done. There's no way anyone else is catching us.
Charlie,
And
no, don't say that after last season.
No,
After
because that's different. Unless Salah and everyone else gets injured, top four is already done. I'd be happy with a single trophy this season, no matter what trophy it is. You know, as sad as that sounds, it's just a bit of a depressing season. Yes, we've got half of the season left to go, but can we really, with the amount of players with the main players we've got out, is it yeah, depressing.
We need to mislead the audience.
Yeah. I no way we sign anyone period this January anyway. Forgot what I was saying before.
I kind of want to end with this. This is a very big topic, far beyond Mane or anything. But when we look back in 10 years on Jurgen Klopp's era, at the moment, he has a Premier League title, a Champions League title, a Club World Cup, and a Super Cup. Tremendous in the landscape of where Liverpool had been prior. But considering the strength this team, the apex of this team, if they don't win a trophy this season,
I hate this because the thing is, mate, I agree with everyone who says, it's a little bit frustrating that if Klopp only leaves with, say, 5 or 6 trophies, it's a bit of an underachievement. But we have to really estimate the state of English football right now. The state of English football in Jurgen Klopp's time is unreal. Pep Guardiola and Manchester City are arguably, in my humble opinion, the most consistent and best team that we've seen in English football in 30, 40 years. We've got Chelsea under Conte. Then, they're coming back now under Tuchel. Man United, even under Mourinho, and Spurs under Pochettino. There's so many great teams that would have won titles in Klopp's era. But, that if in other eras, if Klopp wasn't there. So, I think it was a genuine achievement that we stopped Man City winning a league. And, it's going to be a long time before anyone does that, in my opinion.
With the Premier League at the minute, I think Klopp's done remarkably well because I feel as though if Klopp weren't at Liverpool, City probably would have won 5 in a row. The Premier League is a very high risk of it being very much like Germany and Bayern Munich with Manchester City. And
Pep's leaving in 2 years' time. So
Klopp,
he's confirmed that. Yeah, as Jackie said, he's not
2023.
I honestly believe that season that Klopp's here without Pep, Liverpool will win the league. I strongly believe that.
This still, I was asking this question.
Exactly.
Still boggles the mind. Second best season, or third best season in history of the Premier League. And it happened to be in a season where the second best, or maybe even best team that happened to be there as well.
I think I saw a tweet from Paul Machin, which was like, can we just win a league where we don't have to worry about every single result, please?
I was looking back at 16.
This is what I mean about City. They've basically made the Premier League, and Louis said it there as well, like Germany, like France with PSG, where it's just an odd teammate winner every now and then. And that is all down to City and the oil money. Even when Chelsea, when Abramovich come in, there was still Chelsea and United competing. 80 points could win you the leagues. I think it's 67 points has won the league once. So Klopp's achievements at Liverpool, even though he may leave with 1 Premier League and 1 Champions League, I would still put Jurgen Klopp down, in my opinion, as the greatest manager in our generation.
Leicester City won the title by 10 points. They had 81 points. Second closest team had 71. That was the season before Pep arrived. And then the season that Pep arrived, Chelsea won the league with 93 points. They were 7 clear of Spurs, who had 86. It's remarkable how flawless. And Mane is a microcosm of a larger debate. With City, there would be 2 guys that could compete for Mane's role, and that would make Mane better, make him more longevity to him. And it's just and Pep's style is less grinding on the muscles than Klopp's is.
How many leagues should Klopp would have won if City didn't have all the money? Because I reckon 4 or 5 easily.
I think 3. Yeah. Maybe just 2 to be quite. Not 3. But it would be a very, very different debate. But it's fascinating. nonetheless.
There you go.
Oil money, yeah, did room football. Anything else before we get out of here?
Nah, I think that's a good.
Both Hansi Flick being a good replacement, absolutely not. Jurgen Klopp's replacement, Stevie G, always will be.
Well, United are 3-0 up, so that's a depressing way.
Yeah, but it's at home to Burnley, lads. Come on.
Aaron Lennon just scored. The comeback is
He's still going.
Aaron Lennon.
Do you know what, right? I'm not bothered when teams pass a Burnley because I just want them to go down. I'm sick of Sean Dyche thinking
They're never going down.
You realise, right? If Burnley go down, then Stoke will come up. They can't coexist. They have to be one or the other. They can't be in the league.
I just can't stand Sean Dyche. I can't stand them. Sat there saying, "Oh, Frank Lampard played 60 games a season. No one was moaning." It's not 60 games, is it, with international football? It's what 90 games a season to play now. His points are relevant. He's a dinosaur who needs to leg being a footy manager.
Next debate room: should Sean Dyche retire?
Yeah.
That's all we can hope for. Mane ends his before AFCON with a nice big performance against Chelsea. Well, that's going to do it for a debut of the debate room. This was a Mane debate. It went into transfers. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it as always.
Just a quick one. If you've got ad block on, turn it off, please.
Yes.
Please, right? Watch the adverts fully. Don't skip them. Watch them. Okay, I beg you. I'm on all knees, right? I'm begging. Just watch the adverts, yeah.
If you're true LFC Transfer Room fans, you will watch the full advert. You will be convinced by the advertisement. You will go to their sites, purchase their product or service, and
Jay,
then
take it off. Take it off now.
Jay.
I'll agree with all your opinions that you ever have. If you would take it off right now.
Kris, he could really abuse that.
Shay has a good point there. Shay has a very, very good point there.
That you know what, Anthony,
out of money.
Anthony, bro, you're part of this payroll.
Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for our stream here today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you, Kris, Charlie, and Matty, for joining me as always. That is our first debate room. We'll have more of these throughout January and throughout the entire season, so make sure you're subscribed and you follow all of our content at LFC Transfer Room. But that's going to do it for today. For myself, Jack, Kris, Charlie, and Matty, we'll see you in the next stream.